So static analysis process essentially means I'm going to take that hunk of binary and I'm going to turn it into high-level language when I'm done. That's what I'm attempting to do, so that I can look at the algorithms, I can read the code just as though I wrote the code and figure out what the code's doing, so I know what's going on, how to defeat it, and maybe get clues to the author if I'm looking for that. So I'm going to disassemble it. That's pretty much straightforward these days and can be automated. If disassembly makes sense, then maybe I'm going to look at that disassembled code and see if in my brain I can say, oh, I recognize that C language construct. They're doing this. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go into it in more detailed and then do a complete reverse engineering to see if I can take it back to the code. And it's going to be packed, it's going to be obfuscated, but if I'm executing the code, ultimately if I take, no matter how it's packed, and read it into memory, something at the beginning of that has to be executable. And so otherwise it would never work. It would be just be garbage and give you error messages. So once it's in memory and starting to work, I simply play computer myself and execute the code myself and see what it does. That's what you're trying to do when you reverse engineer. So there's unpacking methodologies for dealing with that. There are debuggers where I can actually look at the code if the code actually lets me debug it, and I told you that sometimes they do. There are disassemblers. IDA Pro is one. OBJ-DUMP is a free one that runs under Unix. If you want to take a Windows 32 binary from a Windows system, put it on a Unix system, use OBJ-dump. You can see a lot about what that code does yourself. So if you wanted to do a little bit of analysis and understand a little bit more about Windows, you can do it for free. So these are the things of interest. Is the file executable? Does the file have a way to start itself? Is it packed? And if the file is not executable, we probably don't care about it because you can't execute it. So it kind of renders it less interesting. Because there are some other ways to execute it. What's OLE? Do you know what OLE is? It's object linking and editing. It's a way to share files between like multiple versions of Word. I can link an image file into a document, and then when I change the image file, it will be reflected in the document, or a spreadsheet that's included in a Word document. That's OLE linking. So sometimes these enter it also. So does the file auto start itself? It's got to run. Somewhere in there has to be instructions in the native instruction set understood by the operating system when this hunk of stuff runs. And I can determine that. And then what it does beyond that becomes interesting. Lots of ways to automatically start up a program, putting it in the right places, scheduling it, registry keys. And so it's important to know, again, just like in forensics, how does Windows work? Which means, where am I looking to see the magic things that I might find in a piece of malware? So there's an auto runs tool. I can't remember what that's part of. There's a whole bunch of tools that Microsoft bought.
Yes, tools.
Sysinternals tools, thank you. And I think auto runs is one of those. That will say, tell me what the auto runs are on this system, what's already been set up, and it understands the registry keys to look at to find that stuff out for you. Is the file packed? We've talked about that.